Many people search for meditation techniques hoping to fix stress, anxiety, confusion, or emotional pain. They move from one method to another, always wondering which technique is the most powerful, the most effective, or the most authentic. More than 2,500 years ago, people asked the Buddha the same question. Among all the practices he taught, there was one method he returned to again and again. Not because it was complex, mystical, or impressive, but because it worked for everyone, in every situation. That method was mindfulness of breathing. The Buddha taught that the breath is the most reliable doorway into the present moment. It is always happening, whether you are aware of it or not. You do not need special conditions, special beliefs, or special equipment. You only need attention. When attention meets the breath, the mind begins to settle naturally. Instead of being pulled in hundreds of directions by thoughts, memories, worries, and plans, the mind learns to stay with something simple and real. Most people breathe their entire lives without ever actually experiencing breathing. They breathe automatically while their attention is somewhere else. When you sit quietly and bring awareness to the natural flow of the breath, something changes. You begin to notice how restless the mind is. You see how quickly attention wanders. This is not a failure of meditation. This is the beginning of wisdom. The moment you see how the mind behaves, you are no longer completely controlled by it. Mindfulness of breathing does not require you to control the breath. The Buddha was very clear about this. You do not force deep breathing, slow breathing, or special rhythms. You simply know the breath as it is. You know when the breath is long, when it is short, when it is deep, and when it is shallow. This gentle awareness trains the mind to observe without interfering. Over time, this same quality spreads into daily life. You learn to observe emotions, thoughts, and situations without immediately reacting. As attention becomes steadier, the breath begins to feel more vivid. You feel the air entering the body, the movement in the chest or belly, the subtle sensations at the nose. The mind becomes quieter not because you suppress thoughts, but because it is finally satisfied. It no longer needs constant stimulation. Calm arises naturally, without effort. The Buddha taught that mindfulness of breathing develops both calm and insight. Calm stabilizes the mind. Insight reveals the truth of experience. As you watch the breath come and go, you begin to understand impermanence directly. Every breath arises and passes away. Nothing stays. This understanding is not intellectual. It is felt in the body. You begin to see that thoughts, emotions, and sensations behave the same way. They arise, change, and disappear. When you see this clearly, you stop clinging so tightly. One of the reasons suffering exists is because the mind wants things to be different from how they are. When the breath feels pleasant, the mind wants to hold on to it. When it feels uncomfortable, the mind wants it to change. Mindfulness of breathing teaches you to stay present without demanding change. This is a deep training in acceptance. You learn to remain balanced even when experience is not exactly how you want it to be. As this practice deepens, you become more sensitive to the relationship between breath, body, and mind. You notice how stress tightens the breath. You notice how fear shortens it. You notice how calm makes it smooth and gentle. The breath becomes a mirror reflecting your inner state. Instead of being confused by your emotions, you begin to understand them clearly. The Buddha emphasized that this practice is not limited to sitting meditation. You can be aware of the breath while walking, standing, working, or lying down. Wherever the body goes, the breath goes with it. This makes mindfulness of breathing a complete life practice, not just something you do on a cushion. The more you return to the breath throughout the day, the more stable and clear your mind becomes. With continued practice, the breath becomes more subtle. Sometimes it feels almost invisible. At these moments, the mind can become very still. This stillness is not dullness. It is alert, clear, and peaceful. In this state, insight becomes sharp. You see thoughts arise before they fully form. You see emotions before they turn into reactions. This is where freedom begins. You gain the ability to choose how you respond instead of being pushed by habit. The Buddha taught that suffering is not caused by the world itself, but by the way the mind reacts to experience. Mindfulness of breathing trains the mind to respond wisely. When a difficult emotion arises, you return to the breath. When confusion arises, you return to the breath. When life feels overwhelming, you return to the breath. Each return strengthens awareness and weakens automatic reactions. Over time, attachment loosens. You no longer cling as strongly to thoughts, identities, or emotions. You see them as temporary events rather than permanent truths. This does not make you cold or detached from life. It makes you more present, more compassionate, and more free. You experience life fully without being trapped by it. Many people underestimate this practice because it looks simple. But simplicity does not mean weakness. The Buddha understood that the deepest transformations come from consistent attention, not from complicated techniques. Mindfulness of breathing works because it trains the mind at its root. It changes how attention operates, how emotions arise, and how suffering is created. The breath becomes a refuge. No matter where you are or what is happening, you can always return to it. In moments of stress, one conscious breath can interrupt the chain of reaction. In moments of anger, one conscious breath can create space. In moments of fear, one conscious breath can restore balance. Over time, this ability becomes natural. Calmness becomes your default state. The Buddha did not teach this practice to escape life. He taught it to help people meet life clearly and wisely. When you sit with the breath, you are not withdrawing from the world. You are learning how to live in it without being overwhelmed. You develop a mind that is steady, open, and flexible. This is why the Buddha recommended mindfulness of breathing more than any other meditation technique. It is accessible to everyone. It works in every situation. It develops calm, clarity, and insight together. And most importantly, it leads the mind away from suffering and toward freedom. When you watch the breath, you are not just watching air move in and out of the body. You are training awareness itself. You are learning how to stay present, how to let go, and how to see clearly. With practice, this simple act becomes a powerful path. The breath, ordinary and always available, becomes the guide back to peace, again and again. Thanks for watching. You can download our app from Google Play. Get notifications, daily quotes from Buddha, guided meditation methods, articles about Buddhist wisdom and sutras from Pali Canon. Discover inner peace, cultivate mindfulness, and unlock the infinite wisdom of the Buddha with this app. Download link below. Our channel is new and needs your support. In our channel you can find many videos on the history and philosophical teachings of Buddhism. Please subscribe to our channel to support the teachings of Buddha on YouTube.